Hey guys, and welcome to episode 3. I can't believe that we're already at episode 3 right now. Like, that's crazy to me that, like, a couple of months ago, this was fully just, I was telling one of my friends this, like, last week. It was fully just, like, a napkin on a flight back from my study. Like, anyways, I digress. Welcome to episode 3. And today's topic, or the theme for this episode, is adulting is hard. Because it is, and frankly right now I feel like at least here in America, we're in North America, we're in a very hard, it's a very hard time to be an adult right now, or to be transitioning into, like, being, like, a full-fledged adult. And part of the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm a senior in undergrad right now, and I'm like a little bit less than a month away from graduating, which is crazy to me. But and I just figured, you know what? Like, I feel like I should talk about post-grad life, and I feel like for me to really delve deep into this, I feel like this is needed. But at the same time, I also want to say that, just like as a little side note, I realized that when I started study break, I thought, you know what, I think it'd be really cool if I have, like, I'm eating something and I'm, like, also, like, talking, and well, not at the same time, obviously, but because it's meant to be, like, a study break. But then after watching the first episode over, and, like, I see that I'm, like, a little bit nervous and everything, I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea for me to be eating and talking at the same time. So, from now on, you will only see me drinking something. Because this is not a mukbang video. Anyways, so, adulting is hard. Like, I recently only, like, accepted a job offer, and which, like, yay, I'm very happy and I'm very excited. I'm gonna be working on the Hill this summer, which, like, for somebody that goes to my university is not really that, like, wow, like, astonishing, because it's, like, I don't want to say that they give out Hill internships like candy, but I feel like there was a time, like, when I was a freshman in college, where everybody, like, you could be a sophomore and be working on the Hill. Like, let's be real here. Like, but I feel like right now, at the point where we're at, I feel like there are a lot of Hill internships, but a lot of them are unpaid. And I'm like, in this economy, you should be paying your interns. In this economy, you should be paying your interns. Like, I get how, like, some of the people that, like, and I say this coming from, like, somebody that is from this perspective, but some people, for example, I'm blessed enough to not have to pay for my rent. Like, my parents help me out with my rent, my parents help me out with my education, and I'm blessed for that, and I'm very grateful for that. But there's other students that they only have what they earn to pay their rent. They only have what they earn to pay their tuition. They only have what they earn to pay their food. And I, like, think to myself, I'm like, I can't imagine, like, how difficult it must be to, like, apply for these, like, internships that you really, really want in the career field that you really, really want. And also, like, limit yourself because there's some that are unpaid. I just think that, like, is bonkers, and that's crazy. But I digress. Me van a funar por esto. Like, so, something I have found particularly difficult as being an adult is something so trivial. And I get that this is, like, I don't want to say first world problems, but, like, it kind of is in a way. I don't know how to cook. Sue me, but, like, I don't know how to cook. Like, genuinely speaking. But that just comes from, like, a generational thing. Like, my mother doesn't like cooking, so she doesn't cook. Like, I mean, she cooks, like, 2 or 3 things, but, like, that's just because, like, for example, like, my brother and I are hungry, and, like, she, like, wants to make us something, but she doesn't cook because she loves it. She doesn't cook because she likes it. And, like, my grandma, I think my grandma would rather order, like, food than cook. I don't think I've ever seen that woman in a kitchen, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, she definitely was, but this is, like, the time before I was born. But it's just, like, a generational thing. And it's funny because in my family, how it works is my brother is the only one in like my immediate family that likes to cook, and my friends like laugh about me, like my friends laugh a lot about this, um, because I have friends, like, you know, my friend Mia, this girl cooks like Julia Child. Like, she knows how to cook really well, and she has done some really, really difficult recipes. Meanwhile, I am gonna be very transparent here and say that there have been times where we're doing sleepovers with some of my friends, and I think to myself, oh yeah, like, let's make brownies. I have fully been the friend that has made liquid brownies before. I remember I also, like, when I had my, I love to host people in my apartment. Like, if there's one thing I love, call me Monica Chandler. I mean, oh my gosh. Call me Monica Bing for that, but, call me Monica Geller for that, but I, love to host. Like, genuinely, I love to host for people. And I think I've, like, in past current years where I finally have, like, my own apartment, I have realized that I'm the type of person that likes to host, and like, as you can see, like, in the back there, like, I have a bar cart, and I love mixology. Like, I love mixing drinks, and I love having, like, you know, cute little girls' nights where I'm like mixing my friends' drinks, and I've been told I have somewhat of a heavy hand when I'm mixing drinks, which, like, you know, for some of my friends it's a bad thing, for some of my friends it's a good thing, you know, to each their own, but I'm not the type of friend where it's like I'm hosting something and you will see me cooking, or you will see me say like, hey, like, I made this. I will never be that friend. I mean, do I wish that I was that friend? Yeah, but I feel like if I were to attempt a really difficult recipe, I would either give myself salmonella poisoning, which has happened before actually, or I would burn down this entire apartment complex. So, yeah. And I feel like cooking is something that, like, a lot of people don't talk about how, like, hard, like, I mean, it's like one of those aspects that a lot of people don't talk about, like, how hard it could be when, like, you're transitioning into a full-blown adult, because some people just don't really have good cooking skills. I am one of them. I want to learn, and, you know, for as much as I want to learn, I just cannot, I just can't get the hang of it. I have burnt pasta before, and at the same time I have undercooked it. I don't know how that happened. I have given myself food poisoning before, for, like, in a cooking class, mind you, where it was a group of us making risotto, and yet I was the only one that ended up with food poisoning. I don't know how that happened, but really, cooking and me, just, we don't have a good relationship. I feel like also something that, like, a lot of people don't talk about, like, adulting, is you have to be, or at least you like, it's better if you are a type A person, because I feel like, you know, even though I'm blessed to be in the position where I myself am not the one that's, like, paying my rent, I am the one that, like, has to, like, log on and make sure that the rent is paid. I have to, like, make sure that, like, you know, like, I have to, like, stay on top of, like, a lot of things, even though I'm not the one that's, like, paying for a lot of these things, because, you know, like, my parents, I'm blessed to have parents that, like, love and support me, and, you know, they support me financially, in a way. I mean, topic of family is really just a topic for another video, if I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot to unpack there. Um, but, look, it's something that a lot of people don't talk about how hard it is, and how much it helps for you to be on top of things. But back to, like, job searching and everything. Right now, I feel like we're kind of heading into a recession where there are no jobs. And the jobs that are there, or, like, the internships, I'd say, are there, are unpaid. And, like, rent is skyrocketing. Gas is skyrocketing. Honestly, like, the whole world should be up in flames by now. But, I don't know. Like, as I have, like, recently acquired this, like, internship, and I feel like it should be important to note that, like, I say internship, that I went after an internship, mainly because I'm planning to head into law school in August, and I have heard that working as a first-year law student is just not something that you do, or something that is recommended for you to do, so I wanted something that's, like, short-term. Yeah, so when I was like seeking after this like internship, I remember my mother also actually, she kept like telling me, she's like, I want you to get a job, like I want you to start earning money. And I'm like, I want to start earning money too, like I want to travel, like I want to do things, and I want to travel without strings attached, like I want to buy things without being strings attached, you know, like I want to have the freedom and like the, you know, I want to have the responsibility somehow, some way to like, you know, be able to pay for my own trips that I want to take. But I digress. She says to me, she's like, but I wanted to be in the career, in like your career field. And I'm like, mother, you know, I would love for that to happen. I would, I like highly wish. I don't think you understand how many nights I've spent like manifesting it. Um, but we shall see if it happens, because right now jobs are scarce and the jobs that are there, like I told her, I was like, I mean, I got that, but like right now what's looking more probable is for me to take an unpaid internship and then have another job. Which like right now I am having a paid internship. Not right now, but like in the summer. And I've already also applied to like other part-time jobs because I figured, you know what, like it's the summer. I want to earn more money. Like if I have the possibility to earn more money, I want to. I just, you know, I realized that, like, also the image that I'm portraying right now in this video is, like, money, 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 money. Which, like, yeah. Job searching is, like, something that's, like, really hard right now. And also, it's, like, you have to have a lot of connections in this, like, type of environment. Like, regardless of what field you're going into. Like, I'm going into, like, the international affairs, like, politics, like, law, career field. And my brother right now, actually, for example, he is studying something with finance. I feel really bad that I don't know his exact major, but if I'm going to be honest with you, he has switched it 3 different times. So, I love you, Miguel. Te quiero, te adoro, but pick a major. And he got an internship with Raymond James, which, like, is really prestigious, and I'm very proud of my brother. And I was like, you know, like, that's really cool. And he's getting paid for it too and everything. And I, like, asked him, I was like, how did you get your internship? Because my internship, like, my university is, like, part of, like, Handshake. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but that's, like, it's a whole platform where there's, like, a bunch of jobs, and they are, like, specifically targeted towards students, towards, like, undergrad students, towards graduate students. If you're a student, basically, it's targeted towards you. And so I asked him, I was like, what did you use, like, Handshake? Like, did you, like, use your club? Because he goes to Northeastern. And he says to me, no, 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 I just basically cold, like, emailed everybody. And I was like, oh, I wish I had the confidence to do that. I mean, I did try that, but I kept getting redirected to, like, the job application, like, page and everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna apply. I'm gonna, like, email them back and be like, hey, like, do you want a coffee chat? Really, genuinely, the task of getting a job is so exhausting, and I am sick of it. I'm happy that, like, for at least, like, the summer, I'm not gonna be, like, a part of it. And it sucks that, like, a lot of people are entering that part where they're also job searching and they're also not getting any results. And I'm like, I had to apply to 500 and God knows how many internships, like, starting August, for me to actually get the one that I had. And a lot of people also asked, like, oh, like, how do you get, like, a Hill internship? And that's something that I asked my friends too when they got their Hill internships. And genuinely, I can't even say that it's who you know, even though that's, like, normally, like, generally, like, what works, like, you know, through, like, networking and connections and whatever. But I want you guys to understand that my parents are not connected in the American politics world. And I had no previous, like, tie to, like, the DC politics or, like, Capitol Hill internships world, like, that whole universe. Like, I didn't have connections regarding that. Like, I was fully starting from ground zero. And while my university says, like, oh, like, you should reach out to, like, your professors, which, again, this is, like, another topic of another video, but this is more of a topic of once I'm, like, graduated, because I don't want my professors penalizing me for that. So right now, all I'm gonna say is, I love my French professor. Love you, Masha. I don't. But anyways, it's something that I fully just like applied. I found the application because I remember I kept like applying and applying. Like I had my resume and like I think I tailored over 500 like different like cover letters for all of these things, and I was losing my mind a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was kind of going a little stir crazy because I would be up until like 1 a.m. in the morning, like editing cover letters and editing my resume and trying to figure out what this employer wants to see in my cover letter, what this employer wants to see in my resume, what this employer, like what they look for and everything. And it was exhausting, I'm not gonna lie. And as much as they tell you don't use I was really, really, really tempted to do that because it gets to a point where you're just tired and you just your eyes turn to blocks from how long you're looking at your computer screen. Um, but anyways, I fully just applied. I applied and I got selected for because this internship's particularly. I remember there are some internships that I applied to that had like an additional assignment, and I did that, and all of them, well, with the exception of this one, obviously that I got, rejected me. I got so many rejection emails, and while it was a little bit disheartening, I kept saying, you know what, I got this rejection email, but this isn't the only internship that I applied to. I feel like that's something that's like really important to understand. Also, when you're applying to jobs apply to so many, but also don't lose perspective that you're applying to so many. Like if you get a rejection email from one place, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get a rejection email from every place. Like if that's the case, then that's a whole other topic. But you know, I finally learned what the saying is for this episode, but the saying that, mind you, because a lot of these sayings, like, I keep in the back of my head to, like, kind of, like, remind myself to, like, keep moving forward and to, like, not be discouraged, and so much so that one of these sayings I loved so much that I got it tattooed on my wrist, and it basically says, hold on, I have to move my bracelet, but that's what it looks like. Hold on, if the camera can focus there. I can't really turn anymore, but it basically says no rain, no flowers. But this is one of those sayings that I was like, you know what? Failure or rejection is redirection. If I wasn't meant to be at this internship, if that job, because who knows, like, what if I would have like gotten accepted to this one job and this one office, but the office was like not a fun work environment, or it wasn't a work environment that like fostered my development, which is like something that I like look for too, stuff like that I like think about, and I'm like, you know what, okay, then we're on to the next. I feel like I have the same type of mantra in my love life too, and that's a little bit concerning. Well, I don't know if it's concerning, but so I was like, you know what, this isn't rejection, this is like a redirection. And I kept moving forward and I didn't really think of anything. I kept applying to so many places of internships that I might be even remotely interested in, because I figured I want to get paid and I want to get a job, but I also want to be happy doing what I'm doing, Like I don't want to be somebody that's like, like I have a job and like it pays well, but like I don't really like enjoy doing it. I don't really want that, and I didn't really want that. So I was applying more to jobs that I was even remotely interested in. I feel like that's something also that's very important to remember. And there were jobs that also had requirements that I couldn't even meet. Like, there were requirements that, like, for example, you have to have, like, because, okay, that's something else that's, like, a little crazy that we should talk about, too. There are entry-level jobs, internships, mind you, that are for undergrad students, and you're requiring us to have 2 to 3 years of experience? I'm sorry, but where are we getting this experience? Like, where do you expect for us to go get that experience? Like, frankly, like, do you want it to just like pull it out of our asses? Like, I don't get what you're like I just don't get it. And then there are jobs that had like I said, I'm like, if you're, I kid you not, there are jobs that I would look at the description and it said this job has been for undergrad students, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm still an undergrad student, but I mean, like, when I'm graduating in May, so I technically wouldn't be an undergrad when I'm like working for them. But I'm curious to see what the job description is like. Fully in bold, in big letters, must have 2 to 3 years of experience. Like, what? That's crazy. That's insane. And then on top of that, there were some that fully said must have 2 to 3 years of experience, and it's an unpaid internship. Like, I'm sorry, but I've said it once, I've said it, and I'll say it again. In this economy, you need to be paying your interns. Like, regardless of if you think that they're, coming from mommy and daddy's money, which, like, a lot of people at this university are, like, let's be real. And, again, I'm not saying that I don't also come from mommy and daddy's money, but, like, at the same time, it's like, like, I'm not ashamed of where I'm from, like, at all. But at the same time, there's also other people that don't come from mommy and daddy's money, and they have to live off of what they earn, and you think that it's reasonable to just be like, yeah, you go ahead, you have all the qualifications, but we're not going to pay you. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just like a slap in the face. That it feels like you're telling me, like, I don't value your time, I don't value your effort, and I don't value, like, the work that you're doing. Like, I get so angry when I see that, but I digress. And so, back to the whole topic of this whole video is that adulting is hard, and, like, also with adulting comes a certain level of maturity that I feel like I've grown into, but it's something that, like, I've had to learn through, like, stumbles in life. Like, I had to learn, like, through previous relationships what I don't want in a relationship and what I do want, and that was actually last week's episode, so you should definitely go check it out. And I feel like maturing is realizing, like, genuinely, simply being put, maturing is realizing that you're just done with taking everybody's bullshit, and you just don't have the time for it, or the energy. Also, like, with, like, maturing, you also tend to realize that you value things more, like, it gets to a point where I got excited about getting a new suitcase. Like, it's stuff that, like, I think about, like, my 19-year-old self would be like, you really get excited about getting a new suitcase? Like, really? And, like, I get excited about getting new trinkets for my apartment. Like, it's stuff that's, like, you realize when you mature with age. I say this as if I'm, like, 30 or 40. I'm not. I'm fully 21. But you realize as, like, you grow up that there are certain things that you used to value and that you used to, like, be like, oh, if XYZ doesn't have, 1, 2, 3 in it, I don't want it. And then you mature and then you realize, what the fuck? What was I thinking? I was stupid for thinking that. Like, it doesn't really matter. And, I really think about this a lot, too. And, like, I talk about this a lot with my friends, too. And, like, it gets to a point where I feel like also, like, adulting takes so much out of you, too. Like, not just, like, paying the bills and working a job and, like, making sure that you make ends meet, because I, even though I don't have the experience of that, I have had friends that do have that experience, and I have heard a lot about it from their end, and it's very stressful. It sounds very stressful. Like, genuinely, like, when I go out with them and, like, they make their money, I'm honestly, like, impressed by them so much that I'm just like, how did you do that? Not because I'm like, I don't think that you're capable of it, but I'm like, I'm impressed. Like, kudos to you. Like, I wish I could do that. I know that I'm gonna have to do that in the future, but just not right now. But at the same time, it's like I'm mentally preparing for when I have to do that, because it's anxiety inducing. It's scary. It's scary to be out in the world and knowing that, like, you're responsible for yourself and you're responsible for making the money that you're gonna eat with and the money that you're gonna go out with and the money that you're gonna be spending for activities. It's scary, and I think about it a lot, too, because I know I'm going to have to do it after law school, because that's kind of the agreement that I have with my parents. They are very much like, listen, if you have good grades, and if you keep studying, and if you keep, like, showing up for your education, we see no problem with, like, paying for your rent, you know, giving you like a monthly like allowance for you to spend for like your groceries, for you to like, you know, have clothes. And like, again, I'm very blessed to have that. I'm very grateful for that. And you know, I like, I know that I'm not gonna have this in the future, and I'm honestly kind of grateful that I'm not gonna have this in the future, because I feel like at some point we need to step outside to the world and just like learn how to live, you know? Learn how to, like I talked about in my first episode, learn to do the embarrassing thing without caring what anybody thinks, and also learn to like earn your own money and earn to have, and like learn to have your own responsibility over yourself, you know? It's stuff that I think about a lot, and that like plagues my brain, and stuff that like I'm already planning for in the future. But you know, yeah, those are pretty much all my thoughts regarding adulting. But yeah, in any case, thank you guys for listening to episode 3. I'm incredibly grateful for all the love and support that I've gotten in the past couple of episodes, and thank you guys again for listening. It really truly means the world to me. So just be sure to subscribe or to follow my podcast. Yeah, on Spotify, on Instagram, on TikTok, you know, all that good stuff. And it's gonna be down in the caption, because it really does help me out a lot. Yeah, so just be sure to wait for episode 4. Bye, guys.